Alright guys, welcome back. We are now testing World of Warcraft and we are in the dreaded garrison. So here you go. I am going to go ahead and show you our settings. And as you can see, that is sound, which doesn't mean a damn thing to you, but we come up here to graphics. We are on 10, which is the highest you can get. 4 times anisotropic filtering, and everything else is pretty much on max. We are running at 2560 by 1440 at 74.6 Hertz. Alright, now we're going to return to the game, and I am going to see if you can see this. We are running an average in the Garrison of Death at 70 frames per second. So that is not too bad. Our CPU is at 52 Celsius on all 4 cores, using about 42% at 4.9 gigs, and the GPU is at 53 Celsius, using 78% at 1847 megahertz on the clock. VRAM, we do have 8 gigabytes, just so you know. We are using 2. Alright, so there is the dreaded Garrison of Doom. If I look around, we are not losing frame rates. In fact, we are only gaining them. And then if I run inside, of course, it spikes pretty high because there's less stuff to render. So there's 155, 181, etc. Alright, so for comparison, there is the Garrison. Let's go ahead and go somewhere else. Here's my ugly mage, and we're going to go to the next most dreaded place, Stormwind Trade District. Alright, so remember maximum settings, and let's look at everybody. There's a bunch of people, so you can see it's dipping down into the 70 frames per second mark here as well. A lot of people don't understand this. They come into Stormwind, they go by the auction house or any major city, and they're like, oh, my frames per second's dropping, I need a new graphics card. Well, contrary to popular belief, World of Warcraft actually has a lot of CPU bound calculations, one of those being players and some of their effects. So that is why you're seeing the drop in heavily populated areas. And I have done this test even with extremely expensive CPUs, and you still get this huge, massive drop. So that's why you're seeing the drop here, where we're going down to the 60 frames per second. Alright, so that is the wonderful Stormwind. Let's go ahead and go somewhere else. Let's go out into the Legion area. We'll go to Azsuna. Alright, here we go. Very beautiful area. Let's get a little bit of distance so you can see. 70 frames per second. And then when we close it in and we're not looking as far, we're at 101, 104. So far we really haven't seen anything below 60 yet. It says our average frames per second on my little counter up there is 100, and well, now it just went up to 300 and something, but that's not really very accurate. It's not taking into considerations the the high calculation parts, just because they're not on there as long. Alright, so before I get my ass whooped by some dudes, since I'm not actually playing, I'm going to go ahead and leave just to show you real quick. Alright. I would go into a raid, but I don't really have time, but I can assure you that it stays at a very nice frames per second. Moving on. Alright, let's go ahead and get into Blizzard's newest IP, Overwatch. Alright, make sure our options, see what we are at. Display mode is windowed. We're going to go to borderless windowed. We're going to turn the obnoxious sound off. Alright. Back to video, and resolution is at 2560 1440. And we're going to go back to 75 Hertz because that's what this monitor refreshes at. Graphics quality is going to be set to Epic. Alright, restart is required. We'll apply it and we'll restart. Alright, we'll go ahead and get into a game real quick. See what our frames per second's looking like. Let's see. I think we'll pick on Farah. Alright, 23 seconds of this. Just so you guys are aware, Overwatch it stays pretty consistent with the frames per second. I mean, a little bit of spell effects and ability effects will drop it a little bit, but it's not too bad. They optimized this really well. And for those of you who are curious, SLI actually, or Crossfire for AMD actually scales really well in this game. In World of Warcraft, especially with NVIDIA, it absolutely does not. What it likes to do is cut each card to 50% and add them together to make up 100. So actually one really good card, which is what we went for in this system, tends to work better than two really good cards of the same caliber because it just cuts them both in half and adds them up. So that's how that works. We are running right now at a steady 75 to 80 frames per second. And if we go in somewhere, it'll probably go up. And of course, it's going to go up when you're looking at a wall because there's not a whole lot to process. Alright, so we're staying above 70, so looking good. Alright, well that's all I'm going to run right now. As you can see, the CPU temps, they heat up a little bit, especially during WoW because like I told you, a lot of things are CPU intensive. But they drop back down fairly quickly. And watch it, we'll get out of this and it'll drop down even more. And there we go. Alright, well that concludes the benchmarks that I'm going to show on camera at least. I appreciate you guys for watching. And have a good evening.